Chris Cion here for Display Central in the AJA stand here at NAB 2014. I asked him what's new in 4K, and boy, did I get an earful. Let's start with the camera over here. AJA is now making a 4K camera. They said they made all the pieces and parts before, but never had really put it together into a camera. So here you go. This is the new camera called the Cion, C-I-O-N. It is a 4K camera that can do 4K, not only 4K 60, this camera can do 120 frames per second in 4K resolution. So that is certainly one of the more unique cameras out there. For example, the F5 will have to drop down to 2K when it goes to 120 frames per second. It's less than 6 pounds. It uses a super 35 millimeter sensor, full frame sensor. It has 4 3G outputs. It has 2 3G downscaled outputs and 2 HDMI downscaled outputs to 1080i to go to monitors for looking at it. It can be controlled over IP, and it's going to be available for about $9,000 this summer. Which is again a very aggressive price, a little bit higher than the Blackmagic device, but there's also been some comments about the Blackmagic device with the very large 10-inch monitor that hangs off the side that it can actually be not only dangerous but can be unbalanced and break off fairly easily. So that's certainly one issue. They're actually also showing capture of the camera at 120 frames in another part of the booth, but they were playing that, and that goes through a Corvid's Ultra system to capture it and process that. And then there's kind of a zoom slow-mo playback solution that they've also developed that can take that static 4K image and create little windows that can be zoomed in and out of the image, scaled up and down to a 1080p output, and then shown on a monitor. And now when you capture the content in 120 frames, it comes back at super slow motion. But that actually was a very nice and clean demo. But we'll also be talking to the company about showing this at full frame rate at 120 hertz on the display to show real-time playback, which they actually can't do right now. But we're going to ask them to try and add that feature to it. They also updated the Hi-Fi 4K converter, so that now supports 60 frames per second before in 4K. Before, if you put in 60 frame content, it would drop a frame and output 30. There's also an update for the Kona 3D board. It's now gone to the Kona 4. That can now support 4K 60 frame and will be available in retail in about 3 or 4 months for $2,000. They also have the Thunderbolt I/O device, which can now also support 4K at 60. So that and the camera, I forgot to mention, has a couple recording formats: ProRes 444 or 422, as well as their own codec that's on board there. So that is the story. Some different and exciting news and unexpected news from AJA. Chris Cion for Display Central.